Hey everybody, how's it going? It's Russell Matthews here, back with another Canadian benefit update for you. And oh my goodness, we have some news from the CRA, and it marks a total flip in position from what they said they were going to do earlier. As of right now, we have not had a press conference from the CRA or the Minister of Employment, Carla Qualtrough, but just last night around midnight, the National Post reported on some of the biggest changes to the ways the CRA is going to handle benefit repayment, as well as taxes on everybody's benefits. I'm going to make additional videos breaking down all of this once this news becomes official, but for today we're going to take a look at this National Post article. I'm going to read through it with you guys and then give you context on what this means for you. And if you appreciate these quick Canadian news updates, especially when it comes to Canadians' money, then make sure to watch this video all the way to the end and potentially send it to a friend if you think they could find it interesting. That's the #1 thing that you can do to help this channel grow. Alright, with that said, let's take a look at this article so we can find out exactly what this means for you. Alright, so here's the article that was just released last night around midnight. If you want to follow along with me, there's a link to this exact article down there in the description. And the headline reads, "Ineligible self-employed Canadians who received CERB due to unclear information won't be forced to repay." And of course, the decision is likely to create a major sigh of relief among those self-employed recipients who were facing a claim of up to $14,000 from the CRA. You'll know we've covered this pretty heavily here on the channel, sort of trying to pressure the government to come out with some sort of answer. Now, if you're somebody who's not self-employed or you're not somebody who received one of these education letters, make sure to still stick around to the end of the video because there's information that applies to absolutely everybody in here when it comes to their CERB, their CRB, CRSB taxes this year. So it's just being reported that self-employed Canadians who claimed up to $14,000 in Canada Emergency Response benefits despite being ineligible will not have to repay the money. This is huge, and this is just coming from the National Post sources who apparently haven't revealed themselves because they're not authorized to talk on this yet, because there hasn't even been a press conference announcing this yet. Employment Minister Carla Qualtrough is set to make the announcement, which marks a 100-degree flip of the government's previous position as early as Tuesday. That's today when I'm recording this right now, according to sources with knowledge of the file. And I absolutely agree with this reporting. It truly is a 180-degree flip from what the same minister, Carla Qualtrough, was saying just a couple of weeks ago. If you've been following along on the channel, you remember the interview that we covered with Carla Qualtrough, where she said, hey, we are not expecting to forgive this CERB debt. We're expecting that everybody's going to have to pay it back, but we may come up with some sort of payment plan or some sort of strategy to make it easier to pay back. Now it seems that nobody will have to repay this benefit, but how exactly will this work? Let's keep reading this article to take a closer look. At issue was some CERB recipients who applied based on unclear eligibility information from the Canada Revenue Agency. You might remember that just before the holidays, it was revealed that the CRA actually made a huge mistake. They handed out scripts to their CRA agents which explained the rules wrong about the eligibility for the CERB, and as a result, hundreds of thousands of people applied who wouldn't have otherwise been eligible based on the information that was provided to them. Now, self-employed Canadians who applied and received up to $14,000 in Cerb payments in 2020, despite not meeting net income eligibility criteria, will not be forced to repay this money. And this paragraph is absolutely huge. It says, furthermore, those ineligible self-employed recipients who have already repaid some or all of the amount to the CRA will most likely, it's not determined yet, be able to contact the agency to reclaim it once again, so long as they meet all of the program's other eligibility criteria, sources said, adding that some final details were still being ironed out as of Monday evening. This is absolutely huge. You'll know that if you watch the channel, I read all of my comments, and I've received so many from people who are so frustrated with the prospect of people being able to not have to pay this money back because they already paid this money back, expecting that the CRA would follow through with their threats of collecting this money. But it seems like the CRA is covering both sides of this, because if you were required to pay this back previously and you hadn't yet, it seems like in many cases this debt will be forgiven. But again, that could be frustrating for people who paid this money back. So as a result, the CRA is going to allow you, it seems, to get this money back from the CRA if you had already started repaying it. But again, I want to emphasize, stay tuned to this channel because we're expecting an official press release in the coming days. So if you stay tuned to the channel, you'll be able to find out exactly how this program is going to work and function for you. And here's a little bit more context. It says that it also comes just 1 week after a proposed class action lawsuit was filed against the federal government on behalf of retired Canadians with self-employment income who fear they will have to reimburse CERB payments they received. And that's absolutely true. If you've been following along on the channel, you'll remember just last week we covered the whole class action lawsuit filing and what was happening there, and it seems like that pressure on the government might have expedited this process so that the government didn't get more behind the eight ball and instead came out and announced this program. We're going to see the details here in the next couple of days. And we can get a better idea of just how much of a 180-degree turn or a total flip in policy this is from the Canadian government by taking a look at this excerpt from the interview that was done just before the holidays. This is exactly what Carla Qualtrough said was the policy and the position of the government. She said, "There's not a conversation happening right now where we would forgive people, where we would not require people who were not eligible to pay it back. No." And this was on the Power and Politics interview that she did. Again, there's a link in the description if you want to take a look at exactly what was said. But if you remember that video, we did a deep dive analysis on exactly what she said and the way she said it, and we actually predicted that there might be a change in policy coming in the future because she certainly left some open ends, allowing for them to change this and sort of make it look like they're not actually going back on their word. And this is just layered on top of the confusion that we've been seeing mount in this issue. You'll remember just before the holidays, Justin Trudeau went on Rosemary Barton's show where he did an interview and he clearly said, Canadians who are required to pay this money back, don't worry about it for the holidays. We want to be here for you till the end. That's what the Canadian government is going to do. But at the same time, he didn't say he was going to forgive anything. He's just saying, don't worry about it for now. So it seems like they were sort of pushing this off down the road until they're going to make a decision on it, which it seems like we're finally getting now. And if that wasn't enough information for you, there's actually even more information on the way that we're going to be paying taxes and what we're going to be required to pay back on that front when it comes to the CERB, the CRB, the CRSB, the CRCB, every single federal benefit, including actually the Canada Emergency Student Benefit. The CBC reported that Canadians with pandemic benefit debt to get 1 year of interest relief from Ottawa, says sources. Now, when they say 1 year of interest relief, that's essentially a deferral of any money you'd have to pay back to the government because of your taxes and the extra income you've gotten from receiving these benefits. It seems we're going to have an extra entire year to be able to make whatever extra money this is that we need to pay back. Likely after you file your 2020 taxes, you'll know how much you have to pay back, but you can rest assured that you're not going to be penalized for not paying this back for the next year. Again, I'll emphasize these are reports from an inside source that has been reported on the National Post and CBC. So this is the information we're going off now. Again, we're expecting an additional press conference, so stay tuned for more exact details on the way this program is going to work. But here's the information that we do have. They say that this interest relief will apply to Canadians who made up to $75,000 in taxable income in 2020 and received one of the federal government's 5 pandemic relief benefits or employment insurance benefits. Now, if you meet this criteria, it seems that the interest relief will be applied automatically, according to the government source, again, who's not authorized to speak publicly, but clearly has gone to the media with this. And they emphasize here in the article that the measure means benefit recipients won't be required to pay any interest or outstanding income tax debt until April 30th, 2022, according to the source. Again, we're going to wait to see the details on exactly how this is going to be rolled out, but it seems that anybody who has claimed any benefit along the way since the start of March, when all of these benefits started coming out and being announced, it seems that you will not have to pay your tax debt immediately, and you're going to have a full year to make the extra money that you're required to pay as a result of these benefits being given to you. And it also looks like even if you applied only once for one benefit and then made a whole bunch of money after that in the rest of the year, maybe you started a business or got a different job, it seems like you may also be able to defer all of your tax in terms of the income tax that you got from your job or from the business that you've started until 2022 also. It seems like this is going to be rolled in, but it seems like it's only it's only going to be applied to people who received at least one benefit. So this isn't for the general public, not for absolutely everybody under $75,000. It seems you have to have actually applied for these benefits to be sort of looped into this program. And I'm really relieved about all of this news for so many people who are stuck in such a crummy situation right now. I know so many people who received these benefits and had to use them just to get by and didn't really withhold the tax that they're going to have to pay on it come tax time. The fact that they're giving this additional 1 year to recognize how much you owe and then sort of put together a budget to make sure that you have that in time to not receive any interest, that's a huge deal, and it's going to make a big difference for a lot of people's personal finances. Okay, so that's a whole bunch of news all at once, and again, this is the surface level stuff, so I'm going to be making additional videos that are more detailed on these individual programs in the coming days once we get this press conference, which maybe when I release this video will already be out. So if you want to stay tuned for those videos so you can know exactly how the program is going to be working, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. And I'd love to hear from you. What do you think about all this? Do you think this is a good move by the government, or do you think it's coming a little bit too late and people have stressed out about it for so long? Or do you think, okay, better late than never? No matter how you feel about it, let me know down in the comments. And if you'd like to, hop into our community Discord, which is sort of a place where we can live chat directly with each other to talk about this sort of stuff, along with other Canadian news and investing and personal finance tips. And again, if you've made it all the way to the end of this video, thank you so much. That's the #1 thing that you can do to show YouTube that this is a good video that needs to be sent out to more people. And if you'd like to, feel free to send it to somebody by clicking the share button who you think might benefit from this information too. And with all of that said, thank you so much for watching, everybody. I hope this update helped you out at least a little bit, and I'll see you next time.